The state of the game today actually gave me some hope for the future of Division 2. Now, I'm not going to get super excited because I know the Division tends to oversell. And I do see the potential for a huge imbalance because of the talent buffs that I will cover later. But it is better than nothing. The biggest moment to me came when Frederick acknowledged that they did indeed know about the gear stat pool issue, or as Hamish called it, the budget system. So in case you missed it, here is that part.
So just, I'm mind reading a little bit now, but what people are looking for is that, like, if I have a 500 piece and a 490 piece, why is the crit chance on this 500 piece lower than on the 490 piece?
Are we talking about, like, the budget system?
Yeah.
Okay.
But what it really is, and we know that this is confusing, and it's not within the scope of TU6 to change.
Now, I'm not going to say it is confusing, because I just find it very bad. I clearly understand there is a disconnect in the current form. Stats given by talents cost less than what it would cost for an attribute. The same with mods. Plus, armor rolls are extremely greedy with the points they use. Even if it is not getting addressed right now, it is good to know they understand our annoyance, even if only a little.
Is that 500 reflects the sum total of everything that's on the piece. Armor, all the stats, talents, mod sockets. So if it has, just one stat, that's going to be pretty high because it needs to be of power level 500.
Sure.
If it has many stats, they're going to be lower. If it has one stat that's really high, the other things are going to be lower. So therefore, they could be lower than, on a 490 piece.
I think he is oversimplifying the problem with the system. It is far more than just having a roll or two a little lower than a lower gear score piece. It is in direct conflict with how specific brand sets have unique features like additional mod slots. It is obvious when comparing different 500 gear score brand sets that some slots just add more to the builds. But again, at least he knows we have an issue.
And it's a hard system to understand. We get that. We sympathize with that. We're going to work hard on trying to explain and fix that in the future, but we can't do that for TU6.
Okay.
Safe to say that mathematically a 500 has more stuff on it than a 490, but it might not be the stuff you want.
All right, so that last part gets me a little annoyed, which, as you can guess, I am about to show you why that is. The system is not hard to understand. I may not have the specific formulas they are using, but in practice, it is clear the system favors specific things like mods and talents over attributes. It is clear the base armor roll consumes more points than armor rolled in an attribute slot. I have a sense that while they know of the issues, they might not be sure on exactly how to handle them. I will just assume that at this point no massive redo on the stat system is ever going to occur, since they basically just went all out with the talent rebalancing. With that in mind, let's take another look at what the issues we have are, and I even offer some feedback on how the system could work in the current game. But before that, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Hit that like button and leave a comment telling me exactly what you think and how you feel about some of these things that they mentioned. So here I am at the recalibration station looking at two very similar masks. One is a Murakami and the other a Gila. Both are level 500, but the Murakami has 1600 more base armor and 3% more skill haste, while the Gila has a mod slot. Now, if I were to swap the high hazard roll, which maxes out my Murakami, it is easy to see that I still have 30 points left over, meaning that the higher base armor and tiny skill haste advantage is far more point hungry than a mod slot that could add hundreds of skill power to my build. Not to mention the still available points I could spend to get more than 40 hazard, which I would guess might cap at around 50. So 10% more hazard and a utility slot are weighed the same as 3% haste and 1600 armor? That seems off to me, considering if it was a defensive mod, I could use it to add 8000 armor or 4.5% total armor, which makes this point even stronger. This one is even a little more glaring. We have a 500 Araldi holster and a 499 Douglas. The Araldi has 900 more base armor and 3% more haste versus a talent slot. With the upcoming changes, that talent has the potential to offer 10% more weapon damage, 40% more explosive damage, 20% more damage to elites, or many others, only for 3% skill haste and 900 armor. This is a huge issue, considering the overall push to now have unique talents in every slot. If this issue repeats on all 6 pieces, and in the case of the chest and backpack, 2 additional times for a total of 8, we are looking at something like losing 18% haste and 8,000 armor, but gaining 20% armor, 10% weapon damage, 20% skill power, 25% damage to elites, 25% health, 30% hazard protection, 40% explosive damage, and 50% skill duration. This is just staggering. And this is not even covering the benefits that mod slots bring over attribute rolls. Like freaking wow, guys. This might be the worst case kind of stuff, but even if parts of it are comparable to most builds, it is a huge issue to any gear that lacks talents and mod slots. Just one more point to make comparing a pair of Murakami knee pads and Gilligard knee pads. The Gilla beats the base armor by 200, but loses 1.5% to the stronger armor roll. But you guessed it, it gains a mod slot. And what can you do with that mod slot? Oh, I don't know. Maybe add another 3,000 armor and another 4.5% total armor? So guess what? It wins. Massive. Are you finding the budget system broken yet? I know it is hard to understand. Okay guys, that is enough reasons to fix the system, I think. So let's talk about how to do that. Using the same gear I did in my last video, let's first try to form an understanding of how the gear might be designed. Gilla is designed for mod slots and talents. It uses more of its pool to have those over attributes. Badger is almost completely committed to the attribute roles. It is going for pure base power. Yet, we are not actually seeing this take effect. So how do we fix the system? First, we need to remove base armor rolls from the total amount of points spent. I think it would be best just to make it its own RNG roll with a range of plus or minus 3,000 armor. Now I know you're not crazy about adding more RNG, but trust me, it is better for the whole system going forward because armor rolls cost different amounts depending on the source. A high base armor costs many more points than an armor attribute roll, which means the lower your base roll, the higher armor potential you actually have. Yep, makes sense to me too. Then we need to raise the cost of the talent and mod slots to compensate for their power advantage. Given the freeing up of the base armor points, this would still allow for a small increase to your main attribute rolls over the current system, but only by a little because talents and mod slots are already much stronger than the current attribute rolls. The main benefit would go to the enhancing of less desired attribute heavy gear like Badger or Petrov. All those extra points from not having talents and mods would do wonders for their stat number potential. All this means is that the option of talent builds versus pure stat builds becomes a more realistic comparison. Talents are more situational, so they are still stronger when fully procced, but if not, the pure stat build gets the advantage. This opens a whole new layer of build diversity to jump into. That is a great thing to me. Plus you can still grind it out for some perfect rolls, and maybe even reach 3 to 4 near max rolls with a well-placed recalibration. Another option, just to prove it can be easy to think of solutions, could be the addition of minor rolls to specific gear that is lacking many of the added mod or talent slots. They could be anything really, but they would need to be strong since they are fixed unlike mods, and the extra layer of grind might be another hindrance if not actually seen as beneficial. Okay guys, that does it for me. I'm a little bit more concerned with the numbers now having put more figures to the mess, but the solution does exist even if it is not my solution. Let's just hope the devs figure it out quickly and save the game. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.